that tonight.
Oh.
He was gonna take it out to Phillips's and get it up on the lift so that they could get under it and actually look at it. I think this week's warmer. He was gonna tackle it last week. That was the day he was going to do it. It was only really cool day. He was like, I am not gonna look like that.
His Brian's been here for days. Pete's. Stephen.
Really.
Peter did. And he worked for 2 years. But he was really kind of funny. His wife was sick, so
Yeah.
she was teaching him, working for herself, and he got a pickup in the take her to the daycare. Sleep was wrong. Probably got sick 2 or 3 times. Yeah. And then he would work again.
Yeah.
He took my pickup home and I was in the garage too. It was a New Year's Day, it was kind of cold.
Yeah.
Going out in the garage and work on equipment. So I worked on it again yesterday, so I got it fixed.
Battery issue, but now I think it's not, so. Maybe not be getting the full storage. That's so,
Yeah, I don't remember where. It has to be. You see the battery fell over. Yeah, our battery fell over a few times. My dad would have had a heart attack thinking what I did to make that battery fall over.
he told us it was and everything.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. In light of the fact that our girls are playing at home tonight, I would like to delete a few items for the agenda. That being number 4, the audit report, number 6, the standing reports, number 7, the district calendar, number 10, the board policy, and number 12, executive session. Anyone has any?
Read your numbers again.
Number 4, 6, 7, 10, and 12.
I'll make a motion to delete items 4, 6, 7, 10, and 12 from tonight's agenda.
Any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? And we can also discuss at some point whether we want to move all of them items or if we need to have a meeting before then as well. Okay, the consent agenda. Everybody had a chance to look at those items. Are there any questions on those?
I just had one on the purple wave.
Yeah, we purchased a pickup with a snow blade on it. Wow. The time, 4-wheel drive.
I guess my question on it is, it's about $10,000. Is there a limit that the board should be aware of it?
$20,000 according to statute, unless there's something different in board policy which we don't have, so.
Mr. Hickle did call me on that, and at the time they had found it and thought it was, I guess probably I should have brought that up. Well, we hadn't met yet, so
Right.
I didn't. He did ask me about it.
Okay.
Based on Bob's recommendation, that's what I had done it, but yeah. Any other questions?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
And is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, let's see, we've got, just quickly on the communications, if anyone wants to attend the chamber banquet, let Nancy know by Wednesday. And also the Graham County Conservation District, by January 17th, I guess that would be a Friday. If anyone wants to attend those, let Nancy know. The next item is the property insurance bids. We received 2 of those bids. Bridges Group, ENC, which was $59,509, and Conrad Insurance, which was $54,100. And I believe both groups are here to answer questions and maybe tell us a little bit about their bid. I have Todd with Conrad Insurance first, I guess, if you'd like to.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Do you have anything to add in regards to your bid?
I don't, I'll open it up for questions in a minute, or anybody can, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. The one thing that I did want to point out, on your commercial auto page, you'll see about halfway down on the bottom of that page, there was an alternative quote for your auto coverage on that, using a $500 comp and collision deductible for a premium of $12,459. Currently, your auto deductible is $100 comprehensive, $250 collision. We just wanted to offer the $500 comp and collision for your consideration, whichever way you want to go on that. But you do have the pricing in that, and you can see it's roughly, I guess, $2,500, almost exactly, cheaper if you chose to go with that deductible. Wanted to point that out to you. And then also just mention, I think everybody's probably aware, but the Wright Specialty Insurance is the endorsed carrier by KASB, which I believe you guys are purchasing your workers' compensation through right now. So, other than that, I'd just like to open up to questions, see if there's anything I can answer for anybody.
Any questions for Todd? It's a lot to look over. I know.
Could you explain just a little bit what the blanket limit means?
Yeah.
on your property?
On the blanket limit on your property, you'll see that it's $20,167,000 and some change. Basically what that provides for you, if you have a loss to any one building, the next page has what's called a statement of values, which all that is an underwriting tool for the insurance company. But what that $20 million and some change provides to you, if you have a building that's damaged or destroyed, and whatever it costs to rebuild that, you've got up to the $20 million total limit. Now, if your entire district's destroyed, that's what the insurance company is gonna pay. But let's say the school over there that's vacant right now, you got that insured for roughly $3.5 million. Probably wouldn't go back and build it anyways, since you're using it for storage, but just since that's an easy one to reference, if that building was totally destroyed and it cost $5 million to rebuild it, and you chose to rebuild it, that's what they're gonna pay you, is the cost to rebuild, up to the $20 million limit, is how the blanket works. So it provides you some insulation as far as, you know, if we do have one building that's underinsured, you've got some protection there, because your feet aren't held to the fire on being exactly 100% right on your building values, because you can always fall back onto that blanket. And then maybe just one or two other points on your educator's legal liability. There is a retro date reference there of October 1st, 1989. So what that gives you, it's a claims-made policy, but what that does is that gives you protection all the way back to that date for your previous board members. And what that provides is, you know, anybody that you had, any decision that was made by any of the previous board members, faculty, or anything like that, you've got protection back to that date, which, don't know if anybody was on the board or has been on prior boards, but they would probably appreciate the reassurance of that.
sure I got this straight. On the equipment breakdown coverage
Mhm.
page, those limits are in addition to the 20 million. Like, I'm looking at demolition, $2 million. What does that mean? Is that,
What that's got is, if you would have a claim, you've got that limit on top of any cost to put back what was damaged. You know, again, using the building across the street, if it was destroyed, you gotta haul off what the remnants are. I know we were looking at another school district, that had a school that they had vacated, and I think the building was roughly 40,000 square feet. And they had shared with us the demolition, it was a brick building, wasn't as tall as that one, but they had shared with us that the demolition cost on that was gonna be about $400,000. So it just provides you some extra money to obviously haul off if there is damage.
and then the increased cost of construction?
What that's for is, under a standard policy, the insurance company owes you for what's damaged. A lot of times, what a building was built to code, and, you know, probably the easiest way to explain it would be ADA. Codes that were, when these buildings were built, probably are different than they are today, whether it be handicap accessible, electric doors, plumbing being insulated. We had one where, we have a nursing home where it was damaged and they had to go back in and rebuild. New codes where there was a different height for each window. Basically, each window was too tall by 6 inches, so all those had to be replaced in a brick and mortar building. So that's what that's for. The increased cost of construction is just extra money for rebuilding to any new codes that you may be forced to comply to that you weren't when the buildings were originally built.
Any other questions for Todd? Thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
Colleen, if you'd like to.
I'm just gonna stand up here because I feel like I'm in the back row. But, I believe you guys did get something that looks like this, I think. Mr. Hickel made some copies for you. Mine has a few more scratches on it than yours does. But, just wanted to point out on, the business auto, you might see two different, or maybe you just see a corrected, limit there, or premium there, because originally EMC, you know, you guys currently have 100, 250 deductible on comp and collision. And originally EMC they don't normally like to do that, but we had asked them if they would to match, you know, this quote apples to apples, so you'd have something to compare to. So, do you have the 9,338 number there? Is that what you guys have?
Well,
Or do you have both?
420, we have the 8918 and the
yeah,
420.
Okay. Yeah.
Just-
We originally had quoted it, 250, 500, and if we moved it down to the deductibles that you guys currently have, it would raise that about $420. So I just kind of wanted to explain that. EMC is who we're representing. They've insured schools, you know, they've been around forever and insure schools. That's one thing that they specialize in. One thing, you know, when we lost you guys a couple years ago, you had talked, or Jim had talked about possibly moving the effective date from February to match the fiscal year in July. And we did talk to our underwriter. That's one thing they are willing to do if it makes things easier book-wise. They will lock in these rates for a year and a half. So basically you'd get these same cheap rates for a year and a half instead of, you know, the normal year. Anyway, what we do would write a short term and then rewrite it this July so that you'd have the dates be effective the same as your fiscal year, if that's still what it is. I
Then
don't
the
know if that's-
anniversary date would be the next July, 2015, July 1st of 2015.
Right, right, and I don't know if that's still a, you know, interest. I know at that time it was. We did want to offer an optional workers' comp quote. We didn't include it in the top part, but that is one thing that we thought we'd put there. I'm not sure how the rates compare with what you currently have. That's something to think about anyway. I do want to introduce Richard Myers. He works with Bridges Group. He's got 40-plus years experience in the insurance world. So if you guys have any questions that I'm not real sure of as far as EMC, he knows that company really well. So he might help us out if you guys have some questions. The other thing I wanted to pass out, and I'll give you each a copy. Today, and you can look on here and see about 4:30, my underwriter emailed me. Actually, he called first after I had sent him an email, and it must have jogged his memory that we were even presenting tonight, but he just wanted to let us know that EMC had made a mistake on the property rates, that as of officially just last Friday, which we had to have the bids turned in on the 7th. We can pass those around. But as of Friday, they changed their modification rates. So he just wanted to let me know, and I said, well, it may be too late, but I think the property premium, well, I've got it right here. What we had sent you was $42,810. They took a rate decrease, which would take it down to $39,351. So that would get the premium total, instead of that $59,509 that we had wrote on there, that would get it down to the $56,050. I just wanted to point that out. You know, we would really like to get you guys back, and if it helps at all, you know, to keep you local, we'd be willing to take some off of the commission to try to match, equal to what your premium is, you know, your renewal premium with Wright Group is right now. Do you guys have any questions on any of the sections?
We might petition to the board that to avoid this email. It was received, the way I see it, after Colleen had received the quote numbers. I'm reading it right? I don't think that's very good.
Yeah, and that's fine, and that's what I told him. I said, you know, it doesn't really look good, but that's what I wanted to show you exactly, you know, what he had put in the email, and just let you know that.
Couple of questions on the equipment breakdown insurance, just to kind of compare. Where on your proposal it says demolition included, does that mean that that's not an additional amount, that it's included in the 20 million?
That's correct.
Okay.
To my understanding, I discussed that with the underwriter, and he said it was included, you know, so it is included in the $20 million limit,
Okay.
but there's no additional amount.
And then, would there be an increased cost of construction I don't see anything listed here, I don't know, is that somewhere else maybe, or?
Well, you have several, I mean, basically, when you have an agreed amount policy, all co-insurance is waived, so they're gonna pay you, if you rebuild, they'll pay you the amount needed to rebuild that property, regardless of the cost. Because it is a blanket and it's agreed, so co-insurance is just waived. But then you also have an ordinance and law coverage in there that'll pick up laws or ordinances that have been passed since the last time it was done, so that picks up some of that. There is a limit on that. Something there. Oh, it's included, so I guess it is included.
How's there workman's comp or any loans?
Yeah.
No.
Just a second here.
Colleen, if I read this right, if we went with yours, the retroactive date for legal liability would be the day we started, right?
That's correct. Now, the way you solve that problem is you buy the tail from your current carrier, and then that gives you a capsule of coverage from 87 to 5 years in the future. And, you know, if you've noticed in there, I say, you know, if you would go with us, you need to buy the tail coverage from these folks. But our retro, because of the loss, they will not back up over that loss. I don't know any company that will.
Anyone else have any questions or comments?
I hate to ask you guys this, but do you have any idea what tail coverage would cost?
It varies from people to people, because you might be going back to the 70s, you might be going to the 80s or the 90s. On the last one I saw, it went back to, I wanna say 85, and it was,
Isn't there a cap of 200% on a fully vested policy?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
and I wanna say it was
So
about,
you're into the policy 2 years, so it's not fully vested. The maximum you can charge is 200% of the fully vested policy. Claims-made policies go up each year because you have a retro date, so you don't get all that exposure. That's why they invented them, so they could limit that exposure. But the tail, you know, I think in all policies, it's capped at 200% of the vested, so you're in this 2 years, so you're 40% of the total, so it would be whatever they charge, and I can't tell you what they charge.
One other thing I might point out on there too, we did quote flood and earthquake at $1 million limit. as per the RFP. I think, it looks like, I saw 150,000.
Yeah, we quoted 150,000 limit. And the thing about flood, you know, earthquake I can understand. Flood, you know, you're writing a coverage that's normally not written by carriers, because if you're actually in the floodplain, you have to buy it from federal flood, unless you guys have a different form. But by law, anything in the floodplain has to go there. So what you're looking at is runoff from a parking lot or runoff down an alley, and we have a $5,000 deductible on that. I can't remember what you guys had. You have 25 for you. Now, the earthquake we can provide, but EMC's position is they will do this endorsement at 150,000, which I agree is not much, but the only way they'll truly write earthquake, which they can, is to write the entire 20 million in earthquake. And that becomes rather pricey. I mean, we can do it, but it's not a giveaway. It is 150,000 per location, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Comments?
Is this something we need tonight, or do we have time to look through these things?
I'm gonna do it tonight, it's February something, date. If you wanna have a special meeting, like, a week maybe.
I would like to know what everybody's thoughts are on having a forward like this and the other items. Special meeting to give us time.
I'm just trying to flip back and forth.
Well, that's what I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard to, just to sit here and, even though we've had them, to start talking about these different things. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm available.
I'm sure tomorrow and Thursday and Friday would be out, Wednesday would be we did it this week, Wednesday would be about it. Cause tomorrow you've got MCL, Thursday you got junior high championship, and Friday you got MCL. And Saturday. So we did like Wednesday, which I can do Wednesday.
Would everybody be okay with that?
5:30 Wednesday,
I'd like to have some more time to look over this.
to compare.
I think it'd be good, 5:30 Wednesday.
Strickle, can you make that work? Contact information is on here if we should have any more questions.
The expirations, is that from today, or expiration expires 30 days?
Well, we gotta have it before the.
Well, I know, but I'm just
Yeah,
asking.
well, yeah, we're fine as far as you make a decision before the.
Same
for
here.
date.
Okay.
Okay, let's, is that guess, we'll move on then. Thanks for coming, both of you. Appreciate it.
So when did you,
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday.
Just-
I mean,
that's-
Just 2 days from
Two
now.
days from now?
This Wednesday.
15th,
That's the what?
15th. Payday, huh?
Would you like us in attendance at that meeting?
Not for me, I don't, do you guys, unless we have questions, would we have contact information?
Maybe always call them.
Yeah, I think any questions I have, I can get to Mr. Hickle, and he can pass them on.
Okay.
Yeah. Nope.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Brian was just gonna get his contact information too.
I think I gave you enough for everyone.
Okay,
If anyone has any questions.
very good.
All of you runs.
Thank you. Thanks, Brian. Good to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank
guys have a
you.
good day.
You too.
Okay, let's see, where we at? So donation we need to the Graham County Foundation, has, donated, $16,000 to be used for pole vaulting equipment.